Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiyet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamalini Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavat Gita as it is, Chapter 1, entitled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, reading from text 28 through 30. Text 28. Arjuna Vacha Drishtivevam Svajanam Krishna Yuyutsam Samupasthitam Siddhanti Mama Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushati. Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Text 29. Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam sramshate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. Translation. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Text 30. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum Bhramati vacha me manaha Nimittani cha pashyami Viparitani Keshava. Translation. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Om Agyanati Mirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Namacharya Padaya Natai Kripa Pradayane Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagra Gramatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So these three verses that we read today, this is the beginning of the reasonings that Arjuna is starting to give to Krishna. actually these first 3 verses that we read, he's talking about his personal symptoms, that is happening to him. What all are the symptoms that are showing on in his body? That is what is being described here. After seeing the army and the relatives up close, when Krishna set up the chariot, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye, when Krishna set up the chariot in between the armies of both parties, Arjuna was able to see, in fact, Krishna made the chariot stand right in front of Pitama Bhishma, almost, and Dronacharya and all of his, direct relatives. And seeing all of them, Arjuna was very much overwhelmed. And these 3 verses that we read, 28, 29, and 30, these are describing the direct reaction or the things that are happening in direct relation to his body. So, Srila Prabhupada, he's explaining in the purport to text 28 that the symptoms that Arjuna is showing about, the limbs of my body is quivering and my mouth drying up. Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport that any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all good qualities which are found in godly persons or in demigods, whereas the non-devotee, however advanced he may be, by education and culture, they lack in godly qualities. So therefore Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them, who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. So Arjuna, this first symptom, of that Srila Prabhupada is describing to all of us, this feeling that Arjuna is getting, Srila Prabhupada is actually describing it to be of symptomatic to a pure devotee. That a pure devotee is driven by compassion and love, and the non-devotee is driven by hatred and envy, which we can see clearly is the driving factor of the Kauravas. The Kauravas are so envious and they hate the Pandavas. But Arjuna, although there was no injustice was actually done on the Kauravas, rather it was the other way around. The Kauravas were the one who were doing injustice upon injustice upon injustice to the Pandavas. So the Pandavas, even if they would get angry, like Bhima, how he was so angry, at the Kauravas for doing what they did, it is very much justified. But this is what makes Arjuna a very special pure devotee, because in spite of, the Kauravas doing so many nasty things, to not only usurp their kingdom, to not only, trying to burn them alive, cheating them in a dice match, exiling them into the forest, making them their menial servants, and, insulting their wife Draupadi. All these, things that the Kauravas had done, natural state would be that there would be anger. But still, Arjuna is feeling compassion towards these, when he saw these relatives. So that Srila Prabhupada is saying that is the quality of a person in God consciousness. Only a godly person who is filled with godly qualities can have genuine compassion for everyone, including his own enemies. Because a pure devotee actually does not think that anybody is his enemy. He sees everyone in relation to Krishna. So therefore, he never thinks that anyone has any personal animosity towards him. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada is glorifying Arjuna in this purport that, Arjuna is such a soft-hearted, pure devotee, kind-hearted devotee, that it is And Prabhupada is going on to say that although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. So such symptoms of Arjuna were not due to weakness, but due to his soft-heartedness, which is a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is giving and making sure that, Arjuna, his motivation, his desires, his way of acting is coming from a place of love. A person who can genuinely love and feel compassionate even towards his enemies, such is a godly person. So Srila Prabhupada is very, very carefully making all of us understand that and recognize this amazing attribute that Arjuna possesses. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to quote a very beautiful verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto. He says, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunaistatra samasate suraha harav abhaktasya kuto mahatguna manorathena nasti dhavato bahi. Which means one who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. So here Srila Prabhupada is distinguishing between a normal person and a pure devotee. We need to understand very, very clearly that Arjuna is not a normal person, that he is a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which Srila Prabhupada is stressing over and over again in this first verse that we read today in text number 28. Now, we need to understand that Arjuna, actually for the next almost 20 verses, Arjuna gives reasoning. After text 30, after his personal bodily symptoms, Arjuna starts giving on reasons that why he should not be fighting in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And these reasonings, there are 5 basic categories, that it can be analyzed in. There are 5 basic categories. The first one is compassion, which Arjuna is feeling here in the first verse that we read today. Arjuna has deep compassion for those who he is about to kill. He doesn't want to kill his loved ones. He is feeling compassion even for his enemies. So that is the first reason, his compassion. Second one, which is not such a noble reason, which is very less noble reason, is categorized as enjoyment. Arjuna starts saying that, after he knows that he will be victorious in battle. There is no doubt in Arjuna's mind that he will not be victorious, because he knows that Krishna is on his side, that he will be victorious in battle. But he's saying that what will be, use of that kingdom which I will get after defeating my own relatives? My own relatives will not be there to see me enjoy that kingdom. So what is the use? So that enjoyment has no value, because my relatives will not be there to share my, when we have when we buy a big house or when we have new car, we want to share that happiness with our own relatives, our own friends. We want to show that to our relatives, share it with them, share that happiness with them. So similarly, Arjuna is saying that I will get this, unrivaled kingdom. And what is the use of me getting such kingdom if I cannot enjoy it with my own relatives, because they will be dead and gone? So the second reason, which is not so noble, Srila Prabhupada says, that is enjoyment. That is the second category. The third category that Arjuna talks about is destruction of family. Arjuna says that with the death of so many great Kshatriyas, both in both parties, on both sides, irreligion will flourish. So unprotected women will be corrupted by unscrupulous men, therefore society will be overrun by unwanted progeny. The traditional Vedic rituals will no longer be protected and performed because no one will be qualified to perform them, and thus hell will await both the family and the destroyer of the family. So this is the third reasoning that Arjuna gives, which is destruction of family values, family virtues. Everything will be destroyed. The fourth reasoning is fear of sinful reactions. So Arjuna is thinking that the enjoyment of royal happiness is not worth the suffering he will have to undergo as a sinful reaction for destroying such family virtues and for killing his superiors. So Arjuna is giving, like karma as the reason, fear of sinful reactions because of destroying the dharma, destruction of any society. The reaction of that, destruction of, or killing of his seniors, there will be a reaction to that. So all of that, Arjuna is saying that there is a fear of sinful reactions that he will be getting. This is the fourth one. The fifth one is indecision. That after giving all of these reasoning, Arjuna himself is confused by them. That Arjuna is himself not convinced that conquering his enemies is better than being conquered by them. The kingdom is flourishing under Duryodhana's rule, right? So why should the Pandavas fight only to take over the kingdom for themselves? So he wonders whether millions of people should die just to make sure that he or his family is being enthroned as the king. So Arjuna, because he's so soft-hearted, he's thinking, anyways the kingdom is running under Duryodhana's rule. So I am fighting for my own selfish desire that I want this kingdom. But because of my selfish desire, why should the others also suffer? Now after saying all of these reasons, he is himself confused. There is indecision. So what he should do, what he should not do, he is totally confused. So this is the 5 broad categories in which Arjuna's reasonings for not to fight the battlefield, not to fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, can be categorized in. So the first one again is compassion. Second one is enjoyment. Third one is destruction of family. Fourth one is fear of sinful reactions. And fifth one is indecision. So with this, it will help us understand that, the later verses that we read, under which category we can fit in under these 5 different categories. So text 29 that we read is, my whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, and my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. And Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he is explaining that there are 2 kinds of trembling of the body and 2 kinds of standing of the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material condition. There is no fear in transcendental realization. So Arjuna's symptom in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. So this is evident from the other symptoms also, that he became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was actually burning from inside, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. So all these are actually due to a material conception of life, Srila Prabhupada says. So, we know that all these symptoms about body trembling, hair standing on end, the skin burning. All of these are also spiritual ecstasies. Lord Chaitanya displayed each and every one of them. Lord Chaitanya, whenever, he would chant in Kirtan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental body would actually tremble in ecstasy. His hair would stand on end. Lord Chaitanya is compared to this beautiful Kadamba flower. Those of you who have seen a Kadamba flower, you can Google it. You can take a look at it. It is Kadamba, Kadamba. It looks like these small tennis balls, very small, nice yellow color, yellow color tennis balls. But the thing is that it is round. It is completely round like a tennis ball. It is super duper soft. And they have, like the entire flower is like, small strands coming out from the center. So the entire flower is like a, soft tennis ball. So it's as if, Lord Chaitanya is actually compared to this Kadamba flower, because whenever Lord Chaitanya would be in ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya's bodily hair would stand. It would just stand up like that, in ecstasy. It would just stand up. And Lord Chaitanya's bodily complexion is gold. So it's like molten gold, yellow color. So this Kadamba flower, if you look at it, it also looks as if the ball is in ecstasy, because all of the hair of that Kadamba flower is actually standing, literally straight, it's standing. So like this, Lord Chaitanya is compared to this beautiful Kadamba flower, and in Mayapur, there are so many Kadamba trees. Shri Radha Madhava, they are offered Kadamba flower garlands, and in fact in the actual season of Kadambas, which is at least twice a year, Srimati Radharani and the gopis actually, what we used to do is we used to collect all the Kadamba flowers, and Jananivas Prabhu had taught us that when we just make the Kadamba flowers dance in our palms, it leaves a kind of a soft white powder, which is called as the Kadamba powder, and that is massaged on Srimati Radharani's lotus face, which is like the Kadamba powder for Radharani. A very beautiful, intimate Leela that we all were given some opportunity to render to the deities. But this is how Srimati Radharani actually adorns and beautifies herself with the powder of the Kadamba flower. It just gives her that pollen, nice white color, very soft, very, very soft kind of powder. When you shake the Kadamba flower like that in your hand, nice powder keeps falling. It is very, very delicate, very beautiful flower. So like this, Lord Chaitanya's hair would also stand in end due to transcendental ecstasy. And skin would burn. When Mahaprabhu, actually Mahaprabhu would feel so much of ecstasy that his skin would literally melt even stones. We all know of the famous pastime when Mahaprabhu was residing in Jagannath Puri, right after Snan Yatra, after Snan Purnima, the deities, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they fall sick, and their darshan is closed for 15 days up till Ratha Yatra. So Lord Chaitanya was not able to bear the separation from Lord Jagannath, because Lord Chaitanya would see Lord Jagannath every day. So Mahaprabhu was not able to bear the separation, and he started running from Jagannath Puri. He started running. And when he started running, he reached this place called Alarnath. And there is a four-handed form of Lord Vishnu, very beautiful deity. And seeing that deity, Lord Chaitanya was able to see Lord Jagannath. And therefore even till today it is considered that when we see Alarnath's deity, he is non-different from Lord Jagannath. And when Mahaprabhu saw Alarnath, he was feeling so much transcendental ecstasy that Mahaprabhu literally fainted, and the stone on which he fell actually made a bodily impression of Lord Chaitanya's entire transcendental body. So till today you can see that, there's almost like an 8 feet long Lord Chaitanya's body, and it is, it has the impressions of Lord Chaitanya, because you can see that Lord Chaitanya's body was so much heated up in transcendental ecstasy that he literally melted the stone. He melted the stone. So that is how Srila Prabhupada is describing here, that these are ecstatic symptoms also, but these symptoms that Arjuna is going through, that this is not ecstatic symptom. This symptom is coming in Arjuna because of his material attachments. So Srila Prabhupada is giving the distinction between the two, that when we have pure love for Krishna, that these ecstatic emotions can be displayed, but also when our material attachments get very strong, even then we can display such emotions. So Srila Prabhupada is describing the two. Now, there can be a question asked that in text 28, Srila Prabhupada is describing Arjuna to be a greatly soft-hearted devotee. And here in text 29, Srila Prabhupada is saying that this symptom that Arjuna is having is of a person afflicted with material attachments. It is a contradiction. Well, it is not. Because Arjuna, the things that he is going through, because the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, it starts from being the ABC of spiritual life starts with realizing that we are not this body, but we are eternal spirit soul. So that is the first and primary teaching that Krishna imparts to Arjuna. And Arjuna here, he is not only representing what he is feeling, but he is actually representing all the living entities. Srila Prabhupada explains this in many, many purports, that all the questions that Arjuna is asking, it's not necessarily what Arjuna is himself feeling, but Arjuna is the representative for entire mankind. Arjuna is asking and being in that position as a representative of the entire mankind, and he is posing these questions to Krishna. So unless Arjuna is, but it is not that Arjuna is acting here, that he is feeling all these symptoms. He is actually feeling these symptoms. And it is not wrong for anyone to be feeling such things, but we need to understand that even a pure devotee can feel such material inflictions, but they need to know how to raise themselves, like Arjuna did. Like when Arjuna's own son, Abhimanyu, was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna had already heard the Bhagavad Gita by then, and he had already, started fighting the battle. When Abhimanyu was killed, Arjuna could have come and questioned Krishna. That Krishna, how could you be so unjust? You can do so much of injustice to me, that I listened to you. I heard every word of the Gita. I heard everything, and I'm following what you're saying, but still you took away my dearly beloved son Abhimanyu. How can you do this? Arjuna never asked this question. Rather, Arjuna also, was not stone-hearted, and he had a smile on his face that, okay, yes, this is Abhimanyu, my son. He has passed on from one body to the other. Vasamsi Jirnani, it has happened. He has gone from one body to another, and he has gone to another destination, which is the teaching of the Gita. Arjuna knew all of this, but still when he saw the dead body of his own son, Arjuna actually broke down. He was crying and crying in, feeling separation from his only son. So does this mean that Arjuna is not a proper disciple of the Bhagavad Gita? No, that does not mean that. Rather, Arjuna, he gave his proof of being the perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita, because in spite of all of this, that happened to him, all this injustice, Arjuna, firstly, he did not question Krishna. He did not say, why you did this injustice to me. He did not say that. Second thing is, he went into battle to do his duty the very next day. He did. He continued to fight. He did not give up. He did not tell Krishna, see, I listened to you, now you see what you've done to me, so I give up. Which he could have easily done. But Arjuna did not do that. So that is proof that Arjuna is a pure devotee and a perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore we need to understand all of this symptoms that Arjuna is going through, that he is actually setting the scene, so that the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita can be imparted to Arjuna. Arjuna is setting all of this scene. The last verse that we read today, text 30, it says, I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So in text 30, also, some bodily symptoms of Arjuna have been described, but also, Arjuna right here, he is also calling or addressing Krishna as Keshava. There's a very significant meaning to why Arjuna chooses to address Krishna as Keshava. He could have very well said, Krishna, hey Krishna, Viparitani Krishna. Why did he choose Keshava? There's a very specific reason he chose to use the word Keshava. Keshava, Srila Prabhupada translates as the one who slayed the Keshi demon. He is called as or one who killed the Keshi demon is called as Keshava. So Keshi demon, we all know, is the one who came as a horse into Vrindavan. He was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. So he came as the horse demon, and Krishna immediately, he actually punched Keshi inside his mouth, and Krishna's hand became as hot as iron, and Keshi was killed. The demon Keshi was killed like this. So there's a very specific reason why Arjuna is choosing to address Krishna as Keshava, because Arjuna is saying that, my dear Krishna, look at who you had to kill. You killed a demon who had come to kill you and the residents of Vrindavan. You actually saved your own dear and near ones. You saved your relatives. To protect them from this demon, you killed the demon and you saved your relatives. And look at what I am doing now. I am standing in front of my own relatives ready to kill them. How can I do that? So this is the argument that Arjuna is giving simply by addressing Krishna as Keshava. He's saying, Krishna, you had a very easy job of killing a demon, but look at what I have to do. I have to kill my own relatives. I just cannot think of that. Just about thinking about it only, what is happening to me is that I'm forgetting myself. My mind is reeling. I only seeing causes of misfortune. I just cannot kill my relatives. I cannot do that. So this is what, Arjuna is expressing his state of confusion, his indecision, the fifth category that we were talking about, his indecision, he is expressing to Krishna in this particular verse, text 30. And also his, bodily features that are, happening to him, what is happening to him, the bodily symptoms that he is undergoing in these 3 verses, that is described here. So it's very significant for us to understand these inner meanings, and with that we will end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavat Gita ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Siddhanath Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. If there's any questions or comments, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a wonderful class. So I want to thank, after hearing your class, I came to know, like how each and every word is significant and why it is used only, like you explained so nicely how only Keshava is used in this verse. So it's very important we read, but we never know why Krishna is saying only that and why Arjuna is using this word only to signify Krishna. So thank you so much, Mataji. We are learning so much. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
I'm just repeating whatever I have heard, and all by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful class. Mataji, just one question came to my mind.
Yes.
And that is, Arjuna had Krishna with him on the battlefield to guide him.
Mm-hmm.
So one may ask the question is, how do we know, we are confronted with so many conflicting situations in our life. How would one know what the right path is? And so one answer that I was thinking, and I don't know if this is right, I wanted to verify with you, is, Krishna can give us guidance through Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Is that the right understanding, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It is the absolutely perfect understanding because, you see, we do have the Shastra with us. We have the Bhagavad Gita, which actually holds answers to each and every possible question. It is said that there's no such question that Arjuna did not ask and Krishna did not thus answer. So every situation in our life, the Bhagavad Gita actually has an answer. And actually one time I met with one devotee, and that devotee told that anyone comes to him with any problems, all he does is just opens up the Gita and then the answer is right there. And I have seen one thing my own Prabhu doing. Sometimes when he is just maybe something happening at work or some other thing maybe troubling his mind, all he does is just he opens up the Gita, just any page of the Gita. He just opens it up in one shot and he just reads that whatever page has opened up, he just reads that, and immediately he just always has felt that Krishna has answered, whatever little trouble he was going through or anything that confusion was there, Krishna has given the answer. So yes, the Bhagavad Gita, the Shastra is there. Then we have the sadhus, who can explain to us, and this particular role of the sadhu is supposed to be, maximum one or two people in our life who can act like our Shiksha Guru. So if we have too many, then, it's you are going to too many people, or, not everyone will probably say the same thing, because everyone is on different platforms of realization rather. So therefore it's always safe for us to make spiritual advancement to have one, or maximum if you want you can have two, but to reveal your mind in confidence to a sadhu, to a senior devotee, to a person who really you have faith in. If you want to do that and then get the guidance from them, they will definitely guide you based on the teachings of the Gita and based on your personal situation. And of course there's the Guru. So like this, yes, this three-way check and balance system is what really helps us in our day-to-day lives. So yes, yours is the perfect answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for that wonderful explanation. And another thought that was coming to my mind, Mataji, is, there are so many wars that are going on in the world, acts of terrorism, whatever you may call them, in the name of the religion, so-called religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you look through the eyes of the Shastra, we can see that, Arjuna and his method of, the Kshatriya way of fighting is very different from what we are seeing today. And the Shastras talk about this. It's not really religion if you are killing innocent people or hurting them from behind. So is it also true, Mataji, that, when the daily, when they were on the battlefield of Pandavas and Kauravas, they would fight, and then in the evening they would sit together and eat meals together? I've heard that, and I wasn't sure if that was really the case, but,
Well, yes, they would do that. They would do that. It was a rule that, they're not supposed to break, that there's not good. It was a rule made by Pitama Bhishma that in the evenings, after sunset, that, one camp could go visit the other camp. So, take meals together, maybe not so much, but there was visitations, for sure. And this was taken advantage of in the end by Ashwatthama. That in the middle of the night he actually came and killed the 5 Pandava, sons, 5 sons of the Pandavas, and, like this he did that. He actually, Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam when he is narrating this particular pastime, in the first canto, Srila Prabhupada writes that Ashwatthama was actually the beginning of the downfall of the Brahmanas, starting from Ashwatthama, the low-grade kind of thinking, that was actually started by Ashwatthama. But yes, nevertheless, that was there. And also another distinction that we can see is that, nowadays, even if there is war, like the main chieftains of each of the countries, whether it be different countries, but they are not the ones who are directly there on the battlefield. It's just the soldiers who are dying unnecessarily and they're getting killed. They are the ones who are suffering. It's the common man. But the generals and the officers and all of them, they are very luxuriously sitting in their, luxurious AC offices and apartments, and, that's what they are doing, and they're just directing. But in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it was not that Arjuna or any of the Pandavas or even the Kauravas, that they were sitting in their own tents and they were letting the soldiers fight. No. They were there on the battlefield in the front and leading the army. Srila Prabhupada says that is the main difference between war in the previous days and wars nowadays.
That's so insightful, Mataji. That is so true. And that is why people are losing trust in each other. They're losing trust in the system. Because there's no one to cover their back.
Yeah.
And it's like people take advantage and, manipulate. That is the symptom of Kali Yuga. So true. I actually asked, Ravindra Swarup Maharaj was giving a class on the symptoms of Kali Yuga. And so he was describing that, Srila Prabhupada always said there's no, like everybody's mostly Shudra, there are a few Vaishyas who are doing cow protection, etc. And so I just, the thought came to my mind and I said, what about the police force? And what about the army? Can they be even considered to be Kshatriya? And his answer was, yes, sometimes, but mostly everybody's a Shudra with guns.
Yeah.
That was his reply, which is, kind of...
Because Kshatriyas, they're supposed to uphold the tenets of the society. Yeah. But nowadays, everyone is corrupt. They are very busy filling their own pockets rather than seeing what's good for the society. Therefore, they can be categorized as Shudras and definitely not Kshatriyas. Very few who are acting according to their, what their role and duty should be to uphold the tenets of the society, basically. That is a Kshatriya. Very few people actually follow that.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice questions. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have a question, Mataji.
Yes.
Kauravas are fighting against Adharma, so that's the reason they all killed in the battlefield. But whereas Arjuna and Dharmaraj, all the Pandavas are fighting the Dharma side, and they're following the instructions of Krishna, and they're very nice devotees also. But my question is why all the sons of Pandus, they were killed, and the Abhimanyu killed? Why they got that suffering, Mataji? Because they are very devotees, very nice devotees of Krishna. But still, why did they get that suffering?
Well, when Krishna displayed the universal form to Arjuna in chapter 11, Krishna actually revealed to Arjuna that everybody in the battlefield except for the 5 Pandavas, nobody else will be alive. Even before the battlefield started, even before the battle actually started, Krishna had revealed to Arjuna that nobody else will survive this battle except for the 5 Pandavas. Nobody else. So Krishna had already said that this is what is going to happen, because you see, one act of Krishna, he fulfills many, many purposes, So this was a dharma yuddha, this was a dharma, it was a battle for the, for upholding religion. So it's not that, the 5 Pandava brothers' sons, the 5 Pandava sons, or Abhimanyu himself, that why did they have to die? Well, you see, there is many reasons for that why they were killed, and why it went the way it went. First of all, we need to understand that, whenever anybody was leaving their bodies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, whether it be from the side of the Pandavas or whether it be from the side of the Kauravas, they were actually getting mukti, moksha, liberation, because they were seeing Krishna and leaving their bodies. So that was one benediction that even the Kauravas were getting, because they were seeing Krishna while they were leaving their bodies. Srila Prabhupada describes this in the purport, one of the purports of the Bhagavad Gita. He says this, that actually chapter 11 purport, I'm not sure which verse, but Srila Prabhupada talks about this, that because everyone was seeing and having Krishna's darshan at the battlefield, therefore whoever, from whichever side they were leaving, they were actually going back home, back to Godhead. They were getting liberation. So now what kind of liberation? Either Sayujya, or Sayujya is merging into the effulgence of Krishna, or, any of the other liberations. That depends on what level they were, but all of them were getting liberated. So minimum liberation that everyone was getting was Sayujya Mukti. So that is what is explained. Now, after we understand this, we also need to understand that Krishna, he had a plan. That he actually wanted, after the battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna and the Pandavas, Krishna had a plan that yes, they will start ruling the kingdom, but they will also leave their kingdom, and they will give their kingdom to their great-grandson Parikshit Maharaj, who is the son of Abhimanyu. So he will be the ruler, and he will be the one who is going to take the kingdom ahead. So that was the plan of Krishna, that he wanted, Parikshit Maharaj to rule the entire world after the Pandavas. Even the Pandavas would actually go away and, give way to Parikshit Maharaj. But the reason why, Abhimanyu and the 5 Pandava sons were killed was so that, in a battlefield, things have to happen, to instigate also. Another side effect of the battle is also to instigate a rage, to have some rage. So now, if Abhimanyu would not have been killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra by using injustice, Abhimanyu actually was, there were many, many rules and regulations that were actually laid down before the battlefield, that what should be done and what are the rules of the war. Everything was laid down. So the Kauravas were the one, actually Kauravas and Pandavas, they sat together, and Pitama Bhishma made all the rules of the fight. That there will be no fight after sunset, no Kshatriya who is, weaponless will be injured. If a Kshatriya becomes weaponless, then, you cannot attack that person. Then you cannot attack a person single-handedly. Like many warriors cannot gang up on one warrior. So all of these different rules and regulations were actually laid out before the battle had actually started, before they came on the battlefield also. They had a meeting and they put down all the rules and regulations. But during Abhimanyu's case, they had violated, the Kauravas were the ones who violated each and every rule of what Pitama Bhishma and everyone had decided. Till Pitama Bhishma was there on the battlefield, there was no, destruction of any rule. But as soon as Pitama Bhishma was, gone on the bed of arrows, that time when Dronacharya became the commander-in-chief, under his, authority, they broke all the rules. Abhimanyu was single. He actually, after fighting so many, all the Kshatriyas actually ganged up against Abhimanyu. We all know how he entered the Chakravyuha, and he was killed like that. And then, he actually lost all his weapons also, but still, weaponless Abhimanyu was killed mercilessly. So all of these things had to be done so that, more adharma is committed by these Kauravas, and then there'll be faster way to kill them and to get rid of them. That was one reason. The next reason was that there's this, this is all, very, very intricate parts of Mahabharata. But there was one more reason why Abhimanyu was killed, was because Jayadratha, he had received a special benediction from Lord Shiva that he will be able to be, because, Jayadratha was insulted by the Pandavas one time. In the forest, when Jayadratha had lusty desire towards Draupadi, Bhima and Arjuna, in front of all the Pandavas, they had actually insulted Jayadratha. They had shaved him off, and then Jayadratha he underwent lot of penances to please Lord Shiva, and he actually asked the benediction that I want to be victorious in battle against the Pandavas. So Lord Shiva said, okay, I will give you this benediction, but you will not be victorious against Arjuna. But only one day, I am telling you that Lord Shiva gave this benediction, that one day in the battlefield, you will be heavy, you will be victorious over the other 4 Pandava brothers. So, Arjuna actually had to be led away, because Arjuna knew about how to enter the Chakravyuha, and at the entrance of the Chakravyuha, Jayadratha was placed. So when Abhimanyu entered, Arjuna had actually gone away to fight another, warrior. It was the plan of Dronacharya to lead Arjuna away. And Krishna knew all of this, but still he had to take care of this, because Lord Shiva had already promised Jayadratha that one day he will be victorious over the 4 Pandava brothers. So even Krishna was helpless, because Lord Shiva had given this promised to his devotee Jayadratha. So when Arjuna was out of the scenario, then Jayadratha, was victorious, and he was able to stop the 4 Pandava brothers, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul and Sahadev. So they could not follow Abhimanyu into the Chakravyuha, and that's why they all got killed. Abhimanyu got killed. But nonetheless, you see, all of this, they have lot of intricate reasonings. Why all of this happens, what are the special reasons why these happen. There are a lot of, reasons like this. But again, the 5 Pandava sons, the way they were killed, as I was explaining, that Ashwathama did this. And then after doing this, he came to the he came to the hermitage of Vyasadeva in Badrikashram, and he said that I want to repent for my wrongdoing because I have killed someone in their sleep. I have killed those 5 Pandava sons. So I have committed a huge sin and I want to repent for that. So Vyasadeva tells Ashwathama, what do you think? You have killed everyone in Pandava dynasty? No. The Pandavas, all 5 of them are still alive, and more than the 5 Pandavas, their grandson, Parikshit, is safe in the womb of Uttara. And at that moment, Ashwathama actually conjures the Brahmastra and he shoots it towards the womb of Uttara. And that was the power of, Brahminical power. Nowadays you drop an atom bomb, you have no control over its reaction. It will destroy anything and everything that comes in its way. But Brahmastra in those days, they had the potency that it could just make that one contact. Ashwathama sent it only to Parikshit in the womb, that it would not even hurt the mother, but it will just kill the embryo. Imagine the power. So like this, as soon as, Brahmastra was shot towards Uttara's womb, Krishna, Uttara actually came running because Krishna was leaving for Dwarka. But Uttara came running, Mother Kunti came running to Krishna and said, please protect us, please protect us. And then immediately Krishna, he became the size of a thumb, he entered Mother Uttara's womb, and he started wielding his club, Krishna's club, he started wielding, and he was protecting Parikshit inside the womb from the effect of the Brahmastra. And thus Brahmastra could not kill or hurt Parikshit Maharaj. And that is why when Parikshit Maharaj came out, the reason why his name became Parikshit is because he used to examine everyone, that who is that person I saw in that womb? In the womb when I was there, who is that personality whom I saw? So beautiful. So he would examine everybody. Is this Krishna? Is this Krishna? So because he would examine everyone like this, his name became Parikshit. So, and then of course Ashwathama, how he, then the 5 Pandavas and, Krishna went to Badrikashram to punish Ashwathama. And because he was the son of Dronacharya, he was Guru Putra, son of the teacher, he was not killed, but Krishna himself cursed Ashwathama that, he will not die and his body will melt. So many sightings actually, if you Google it up, melting man in the Himalayas, you'll see a lot of articles, that it says that Ashwathama is still living because he is one of those Chiranjeevis. And Ashwathama is actually going to be the next Indra, next Brahma, I think, is going to be Ashwathama. These are the main things, that we need to understand, that there are a lot of reasons which we apparently might not understand, but, one act of Krishna, he fulfills many purposes. I'm so sorry, you asked me a 2-mark question, I gave you a 100-mark answer to that, but sorry for that.
Thank you, Mataji. You very patiently explained, Mataji. I heard so many new things today. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.